सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ Welcome. "94th time." 47th day evening, 94th occasion we are doing this. 2 more occasions tomorrow. And someone asked me, why leave it at 96? Why not make it 100? 100 is such an artificial number. As a cricketer in my school days and playing quite well for our district also, 100 was always a goal. As a cricketer, as an opening batsman, you wanted 100. But other than that, this whole milestone of 100 is so artificial. The Indian culture understands the cycles of time much better. And the way the universe has played this out, we end up with one full mandala tomorrow, which will be 48 days. And I think that is more appropriate. That 48 days, we have done it twice, that will be 96. That for me is a much, much more organic feeling than if I were try to artificially extend it to 100. We are not doing it for the number's sake. We are doing it for the sake of doing it. When we do what we need to do for the sake of doing it, that which needs to come to us comes on its own accord. It may not come from the direction we are expecting. It may not come from the direction we are expecting. But just because it doesn't come from the direction we expect, we need to remember there are multiple directions, and that we live in a multi-dimensional universe where what we put out will surely come back in some way or the other. Which is why in yoga we are so focused on being mindful, being conscious, being aware. My father, Swami Geethananda Giri, used to define yoga as fourfold awareness. Awareness of the body, awareness of the emotions, awareness of the mind, and then awareness of awareness itself. A very beautiful concept of fourfold awareness. And then my beloved Ammaji, my mother Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani, one of the greatest women I know, and in times we'll be proud and privileged to say that we have lived at the same time she's been on this planet. Speaking of her, she just went out for the first time in nearly 7 weeks. She and Divya went to town in the car for a round. And I asked her when she came back what it felt like. She said she had had more fun than she's had in decades. What a wonderful woman. To be born to such a mother and to be born to such a father. I count my blessings. But Ammaji, she added to Swamiji's definition. Swamiji said yoga is fourfold awareness. Awareness of the body, awareness of the emotions, awareness of the mind, and then awareness of awareness itself. This is like a turiya state, a transcendental state, a metacognitive state, where you can observe awareness without being, identifying with it. It's a very beautiful state that he had explained. But then one day Ammaji, she was still that young, dynamic woman when she met him. And Ammaji virtually caught hold of Swamiji's neck. Anybody who's had that type of relationship with the Guru will know it. And she said, Swamiji, I want that awareness of awareness itself. And Swamiji looked at her and said, Meena, will you first develop awareness that you are standing on my toes right at this moment? Because she was, so engrossed with getting awareness of awareness, she didn't know she was actually standing on his toes while she was doing that. That is the type of father and mother I was born to. Very practical yogis. People for whom yoga was life. It wasn't some awareness we want. We want to develop that awareness where the metacognitive buddhi, the viveka and the vairagya come into our being. Let us now go in for the Bhramari. Breathing out. Let your mind go inwards, exploring the beautiful world that lies within you. A world that is your own to explore. You are the master of that world. Everything about you lying within you and you alone. Becoming aware of the experiences arising from within. A beautiful harmony coming out of performing the Brahmari, with all your trillions of cells vibrating together in unison. A unified grand symphony of your trillions of cells. Remember, for those trillions of cells, you are God. You are the wholesome universe for each and every one of those trillions of cells. Of course, there are the cells that deny your existence too, but let them also be blessed. Being aware of each and every one of those cells who is born with a certain purpose. Each of those trillions of cells contributing through their individual function to who you are as a wholesome being. Each and every one of them having their own dharma, their responsibility in this incarnation, and each and every one of them doing the best, to be the best they can be. Each and every cell being the best cell it can be. A kidney cell being the best kidney cell, a lung cell being the best lung cell it can be, and the brain cell, the best brain cell it can be. Each one, by fulfilling its cellular dharma, enabling you as a wholesome being to manifest health, wellness, well-being, happiness. Each and every one of them coming together to make up what you are as a wholesome being. And each and every one of them vibrating together when you perform the Brahmari. Every cell vibrating at the same frequency, at the same time. What a beautiful sense of yoga, unified living, manifesting in all of those trillions of cells. No wonder our ancient rishis have given us the concept of us being Satchit Anandam, that highest state of reality, the highest state of consciousness, and the highest state of bliss. Our essential nature, our Swarupa, is where we want to be established. Swarupe Avasthanam, as Maharishi Patanjali tells us. When we can be at ease with ourselves, when we can be established in our own essential nature, we then manifest who we are. The potential of who we are becomes an actuality. And that is why self-analysis of Swadhyaya, self-reflection, is so vital if we are to actualize ourselves, as Abraham Maslow has talked about. If we are to self-actualize, we need to first self-analyze. And that analysis in the yogic scheme must be without identification, without condemnation, and without justification. Using the higher buddhi of our Vijnanamaya Kosha, which has Viveka and Vairagya, discernment and a non-attached metacognitive objectivity, enabling us to know ourselves better and grow from self-actualization to self-realization, where we finally realize our true essential nature of the highest self, where we realize that we and the universe in which we live are one. There is no more duality. Nachatvam nachaham nachayam prapancha, as Adi Shankara tells us in the Dasha Sloki. There is no you, there is no me, there is no empirical universe. It is all just experience of oneness. The ultimate universal unification, that moment of Advaitam, of oneness. Begin to move your fingers and rub your palms together, generating a nice heat. Placing the heat over your eyes, your forehead, and your head. Each of these days on which we have done these sessions have so enabled me to go deeper into my own self. It has been an amazing sadhana, in fact. And it's just amazing the connections that have been happening within me. And when I'm talking, I'm hearing myself say things I've never thought ever. I have never said them, I've never thought of them. And it's beautiful just to have it flow. Such a blessing, such a blessing. And each and every one of you is making this happen by being in this unified space. With all our collective power of peace, we overcome COVID-19. With all our collective power of peace, we overcome COVID-19. With all our collective power of peace, we overcome COVID-19. With all our collective power of peace, we overcome COVID-19. With all our collective power of peace, we overcome COVID-19. With all our collective power of peace, we overcome COVID-19. With all our collective power of peace, we overcome COVID-19. With all our collective power of peace, we overcome COVID-19. With all our collective power of peace, we overcome COVID-19. Let us express our admiration, that Mudita Punya moment, our gratitude gratitude is the highest attitude we can ever have as a human being. Because when we have gratitude, it means we realize we have been given something. It is one of the greatest qualities of humility. Humility is one of the greatest qualities of being human. And from that humility, when we realize we have been given such blessings in our life, when we start to count the blessings and realize how fortunate we are, at that moment, gratitude springs eternal in our heart. And in that gratitude, we then want to give, we want to share. And that is where seva, the selfless service, starts to come, where you give for the sake of giving, not for the sake of getting. You share because sharing is caring. And at that point, you become a giver. You become a sharer. And at that point, you truly become human. As long as you are a grabber, as long as you are just getting, you still haven't yet made that jump into being truly human. To be human is to be able to share. That is one of the greatest qualities that Vishwamitra, the great Rishi, teaches us, of sharing. That is why he was Vishwamitra, someone who was a friend to the whole universe. Can we be a friend to all? Like the sun, when we chant, Om Mitraya Namaha, that sun that is a friend to all. Can we be a friend to all? It doesn't mean you have to be nice to all, but can you be a friend to all? Because being nice to all is more politically correct type of situation. Can you truly be a friend? Because a friend may not be nice all the time. Shreya and Treya may not go together. They are such divergent paths. The noble and the pleasurable are often different. So as a friend, you may have to correct someone and they hate you for the rest of their life for it. But, well, that's part of it. I think it is so important. Really. So true. Let us take this opportunity to cheer on, express our gratitude to each and every one who's doing the best for humanity at this time. And yes, Soundarajan Narayanan, Ammaji has shared a very beautiful write-up on Corona today. And yes, it is an Antarmukha Yatra. It is an opportunity for that internal journey, that inward-facing journey to be there for many of us. Truly. If we have taken that opportunity, I think we are even more blessed. Tomorrow we'll be concluding this Vishwa Yoga Prarthana. When I started it on the 2nd of April, I had no idea till when we would be doing it. We have done it till today, 47 days, 94 sessions. Tomorrow will be the 48th day, and we conclude one mandala. A mandala is 48 days, and in sadhana, the mandala is given great importance. 12 days for the 12 rashis, the 12 zodiac signs. 9 for the Navagraha, the 9 celestial influences that are there in our life. And 27 for the 27 stars, the nakshatras that are there in Indian culture. 12 plus 9 plus 27, making up 48. And that is why tomorrow I'll be concluding this Vishwa Yoga Prarthana, the synchronized global prayer that will continue by others. The Indian Yoga Association started this on April 1st, and from the 2nd I have taken it up as being the director of the public relations, publications and other aspects. But then it has become more of a personal sadhana. So it is not really institutional at all. It is beyond the institution, because it is a personal journey. A journey where we have all connected to each other for the last 47 days, 94 times with this evening. And I really admire so many of you who have kept at it. Instead of saying, there goes Ananda again. As in the Moby Dick. I remember Mary Lou Tomsha, my aunt. So many books she used to send me as a kid. And though I didn't go to school, I used to read those books and the classics like Moby Dick. And in that comes a statement, there she blows. And yeah, the rain's coming down now. So I had to stop. There she blows. And so instead of saying, there Ananda goes, you have joined with me. Thank you for being you, enabling me to be me. Let's close before the rain comes down too much here. Rain is a blessing in Indian culture, and the drops are coming down, blessing all of us. May we all be worthy of those divine blessings. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om